Alright, so the last four on the bottom of your homework on the front page. Again, tangent, we're referring to y over x. Cotangent then is just the reciprocal. So these are y over x, and then cotangent will be x over y. And again, they're looking for the exact value. So you want to find 5 pi over 4 on your unit circle. Remember, if it has a 4 in the denominator, we're referring to those middle angles. So we've got 5 pi over 4 right here. And we want to take this y value, so the second one, divided by the x value. Well, the nice thing is they're the exact same number and they're both negative. So even though this is going to look kind of crazy, it actually is very, very easy, because when you have two of the same numbers, one in the top and one in the bottom, just pretend it's 3 over 3. If it was 3 in the top and 3 in the bottom, we would just say 1. Well, again, these are the exact same number dividing by itself, so my answer is just a positive 1, because even the negatives cancel out. At pi over 2, we want to put the x value in the top and the y value in the bottom. I'm going to go up to pi over 2, which is right here, and we want the x value over the y value. So we're going to put the 0 in the top and then the 1 in the bottom. Now if 0 is in the top, my answer is just 0. Okay, tangent, again, we're back to y in the top and x in the bottom. And we want to go over to pi, which is on the left side. So here's pi, here's x, here's y. We're going to say it was so if I'm referring to tangent, I want the 0 on the top, negative 1 in the bottom. So it's very similar to this one that we just did. It's just that there's a negative 1 in the bottom. But again, anytime 0 is in the top, we're going to get a 0. Cotangent at 0, so that's actually on the right side. So if I look at my unit circle, I'm looking at 0 right here. So I'm using the ordered pair 1, 0. Remember, cotangent is when x is in the top. So this time, if it's 1 over 0, anytime 0 is in the bottom, we say undefined. Alright, backside, the last 4 for your homework. Now this is different because now what you want to give is theta. Okay, theta, there actually could be 2 answers here. So we want to know, when is x a positive 1/2? So this is kind of what we talked about in the beginning of your homework. X can be positive in both. This is the positive side of the x-axis, so I could have a positive x as 1/2 in either of these 2 quadrants. So I'm actually going to find 2 spots. I'm going to have a positive x for 1/2 at the top of quadrant 1, but also the bottom of quadrant 4. And you'll be able to see that directly on your unit circle. So here's x, positive 1/2. So we're going to give the radian measure at pi over 3. And it doesn't really specify to give degrees or radians, but you guys will be able to tell from the answer choices what they're looking for. So it'll either give degree choices and you'll say 60, or it'll give radian choices and you'll say pi over 3. But I can also use this one down at the bottom. So here is where x is positive 1/2. So I'm either going to use this 300 or 5 pi over 3, depending on what they give me. So on this, I'm going to stick to radian measures. So I'm going to say at pi over 3 and at 5 pi over 3 to represent both of those angles. Sine is referring to the y value, so we want to know, where is y positive root 3 over 2. Okay, so first off, think of where is the positive side of the y-axis. The y values are positive towards the top. So I'm going to use quadrant 1 and quadrant 2, and I want to know where's the y value, the root 3 over 2. So I'm coming up to the top of these two quadrants here, and you're looking for where is the y value, positive root 3 over 2. So I see a positive root 3 over 2 here and here. So I want to use both of these. And again, it depends on whether they give you degrees. If they give you degree choices, use the 120 and the 60. But if they give you radian choices, use the 2 pi over 3 and the pi over 3. And I'm just drawing these lines to highlight the angles on the unit circle that we used. Alright, this is kind of tricky because we don't have a choice of root 3 over 2. But remember, anytime we used root 3 over 2, it was always paired with a 1/2. Or vice versa. It was 1/2 first and then the root 3 over 2. So the reason we're not seeing the 1/2 or the 2 in the bottom is because if it's a cotangent, remember, it's x over y. So it's saying that the x is the root 3 over 2, and the reason we don't see that 2 in the bottom is because it also has y in it, and if you were to simplify this, if you were to even put it on your calculator and just hit enter, it would simplify it to root 3, because you're multiplying by the reciprocal. So if I multiply by this 2 over 1, those 2's cancel out and I'm just left with root 3. Okay, but you don't have to do that work. We just want to know where is x, root 3 over 2, and where is y, 1/2. So I'm referring to this order. This is x, root 3 over 2, and this is y. Now, they can both be positive, or even if they're both negative, the negatives will just cancel out. Alright, so I want both positive, or left and down. Still in that order though, we want x to be the root 3 over 2 and y to be the 1/2. So either of these two spots. And again, you don't have to have that memorized. The unit circle is going to be there for you. So don't even bother copying it on your unit circle. So again, we're using right here or right here. And it'll depend degrees versus radian, but I'm gonna give the radian. So pi over 6 and 7 pi over 6. So again, we didn't want this order. We wanted the root 3 over 2 first for x. Okay, now this is very, very similar. It's just now we see this negative. So what that means is it's still root 3 over 2 and 1/2, and it's still cotangent. So we still want x and y. But now we can only have one negative, because as we saw here, if they were both negative, they would cancel out. Well, now we only want one negative, so we're actually just doing the exact opposite. We're saying, okay, here's a negative root 3 over 2 and a positive 1/2, or positive root 3 over 2 and negative 1/2. Because we can only have either this one negative, and it would reduce, oops, or we could have positive root 3 over 2 and negative 1/2. Okay, which would be this one here. So I'm going to come back, erase these. We don't need those. We want the green ones. So here on our unit circle, that would be at 5 pi over 6, or 11 pi over 6. And that's it for your homework.